Oh, we're live. Oh my
You're on.
God. I just
You're on.
missed the mark. Oh, well, hey everybody officially as well. Before I get started with a short introduction to let you know who you're looking at and who you're going to be listening to for the next 50 minutes or so, I have an open invitation, and I do that because I really love to see the people that I hang out with. So for everybody who feels confident and okay with that, just show your face for a minute. I would love and appreciate it. Yes, there we go. Oh yeah, hello. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at all the beauty in here. Yes, thank you so much. The reason why I do that is because I'm a life coach, and before COVID, I used to work with people in person. And during COVID, I took my life coaching business online. And sometimes it is a little bit of a lack to be staring into a screen, and I needed to figure out ways how to connect. So eye contact is a really great one, and that's why I'm grateful that most of you are just clicking on that little camera button to show yourselves. So thank you all. As I said before, I'm a life coach, and I'm here today with you because I want to give you some insights on how we can become better at what we do as activists, which is creating impact in the world, right? And before we go into that, I just want to check in with you all to use the chat for a moment and to tell me how your energy level is. Like 10 is you're buzzing, you're streaming, you're super excited. 5 is you're just resting in your peace and you're good. And 1 is you're kind of sleepy. Okay, I'm getting 8. Oh, ooh, ooh, whoa, okay. 8, 20. Oh my God. 5, 6, 9. Okay. Good. Yes. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Wow. Okay, so the energy is high. You just uplifted me a lot because I have 1 a.m. in the morning. I live in Bali, Indonesia. So I'm tuning in from the middle of the night. My neighbors are they're informed that I might speak, so they're good with that. And I want to thank you for having me and uplifting my energy with those numbers. I'm feeling like goosebumps on my back right now. So great, great. As I said before, I'm a life coach, and I've embarked on this journey to help other vegans to become more impactful in this world. Now, I've been starting to ask myself this big question of how can we as individuals, first of all, stay in the game as activists sustainably and long term? And second of all, keep a healthy and sane mind and heart and body and being. Because a part of my story, and I bet some of you can relate, let me know with a yes or I can relate in the chat. I've had a time where I burned out, and I went vegan in 2017. I went on the streets. I was doing any kind of activism that you could imagine. I was talking to every possible person I just could talk to. I had a full-time job as graphic designer back in the days. I grew up in Switzerland, by the way. So the money was good and the work was very hard. I just worked all the time, literally. So when I didn't work, I went out on the streets and I handed out leaflets, flyers, demonstrations, partook in them, etc. I see there's a lot of you that like 100%, yay, 100%, yeah. And at some point in my life, I've burned out and I had to retreat from activism because I was just in a deep depression. And what I realized back then in that deep depression is that I'm not the version that I would wish to be. And the version I want to be is the version that has conversations every day, inspiring fellow people to go vegan. I call them the pre-vegans, right? So there's this concept of calling people into their future greater version. So I call people that are not vegan yet pre-vegans, because then I already lay out the pathway for them to become vegan faster. Now, when I was in that depression, I came to Bali for the first time, and I've realized, okay, compared to Switzerland, Bali has a lot of people that do a lot of things related to mindfulness. So there's a lot of yogis here, there's a lot of meditators here, there's a lot of spiritual people here. There is a big community around all of these personal development practices. And so I dove right in. I was like, heads first. Okay, now you got to heal. Swiss mindset, you know, we don't have time. You got to heal. You heal now. 6 months in Bali. Use all of the time to heal. And I did. And that was like my introduction into mindfulness. So I started embarking on different trainings that involved mindfulness, meditation, yoga, body work, mindset work. And eventually people started asking me, especially my fellow tribes, which one of them is the vegan tribe and another one is the LGBTQ plus tribe. I identify as a queer man. So I serve both of these communities, and both of them have this heartbeat for creating a positive world and a better world for the people and the animals and the beings that deserve and really need a better world. So all of a sudden people came up to me and started asking, what is it that you do that makes you become so consistently balanced? And that was basically my invitation to answer that question again and 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 again. And then I realized I want to make this my business. I want to do this all the time. I want to serve people on that level. I want to answer their questions. And not only that, I want to take them by the hand and guide them through what I've experienced. So that basically made me become a life coach for the communities that I'm a part of, which I'm very grateful for, to have been accepted like that, because there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of stigma and belief around, oh, he's trying to make money off of his friends or his community. And I'm like, well, it's a support network, right? Like I give a service and you receive something, you grow through that. And it's the most beautiful work I've ever done. Like hands down, most beautiful work I've ever done. Now I'm here today to talk a little bit about some core problems that we vegans face and to give some solutions and insights so that you can walk away from our time here and step into possibly an even greater version of yourself. So that's like my intention for the next 40 minutes, that you walk away and you have a new sense of empowerment, clarity, confidence, and charisma. So what I want to ask you all now, and this requires a kind of a radical honesty, and you're free to answer and you're free to not answer, huh? Don't want to force anyone here. And we can use the chat for this again. So the question is, what is like a feeling or an experience that keeps coming back for you in your being as an activist and as a change maker that just pulls you down? Just drags you, drains you, demotivates you. Is it talking to your closest ones, to your loved ones, your family about veganism, them not getting it? Or is it the workspace? Frustration? Yeah. Frustration when people don't change. Yeah, oh my God. Right? And then you're cooking inside and you're going like, fuck, could you not get it? Time is ticking. So frustration, I bet a lot of you can relate to that. Being in Texas and seeing the cows in the fields and know what is coming for them. And a lot of other things. Trying to explain the connection between climate and food. My partner won't, so I can't. And when people around me eat dead animals, it makes me sad to be in their presence. So we have sadness and we have frustration, huh? Them saying, I don't want to hear it. I can't take it. Okay. So dealing with ignorance, huh? Full on. Yeah. So at some point, I kind of realized that in our vegan community, there's not so many people that talk about this stuff. There's more people that talk about the next demonstrations, about what we should do more. And there's not so many people that actually raise their voice and say, look, I know you're set up from the heart to do whatever you want and can. But at the same time, your heart needs to be okay as well to operate from the heart, right? And so I realized, oh, okay, my voice is made for that. I want to claim that seat and I want to say, okay, I'll position myself there I don't want to work anymore with just everybody. I used to do that as a life coach, and I want to work with the people that when I'm done with them, they go out there with a stable mind, with a pure heart, and with that's the spices in the cacao that are just hanging in my throat. I had to drink hot chocolate to get my energy up for the night. So I said I want to work with those people to empower them into a place where, oh my God, hold on. That's better. Yeah, I've got some water somewhere. I'll get it in a moment. And so I chose to work. I actually need to get water. Give me a second. There we go. Thanks for your patience. So yeah, those feelings are, we had frustration, we had maybe anger paired with frustration, we had sadness, and we had dealing with ignorance. Now, I've done a lot of research when I made the decision to work with vegans, and because I've studied life coaching and I've educated a program, I am there we go again. Oh my God. I've studied a lot of the human emotions, and I've realized that when we open our hearts to serve animals and the planet to that extent, there is a weird counterbalance happening when we face the world outside that is not processing the way we are and is not following up with the values we just rediscovered or reawakened, let's say compassion, love, care, right? And so when we start acting from these values and from these core values, there is an issue, because when we face the consistent frustration, when we face the anger and we experience that consistently, it takes us out of a vibration which we actually want to act from, because we want to create love, so we'd rather act from love. Yet then there's the frustration, the anger, and the sadness that is cluttering our mind and taking us kind of away from this space of love. And love comes with patience, it comes with acceptance, it comes with holding space for someone's process. And by the way, holding space for someone's process doesn't mean that you're just letting them stay not vegan or pre-vegan. It actually means that you're giving them the space to develop themselves faster. And my research has shown that when you give people that space with the love and the patience, that they transform into vegans faster than if you hit them hard with facts, your frustration, your anger, etc. And when I saw that, when I observed that with the people I worked with before I worked with only vegans, with the vegans I worked with that went out on the field and started advocating with more brilliance, more confidence, more charisma, when I saw that, yeah, love and patience I'm seeing over in the chat, when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is that's gold, right? That's gold. I got to bring this to the vegan community. And so the big question was, okay, how am I going to teach vegans how to be patient, loving, accepting, and also become charismatic and more confident? Because if you can speak from a place of confidence and charisma, then, the people are going to listen to what you have to say. Is it on the dinner table or is it on a stage where you speak? It doesn't matter. If you manage to elevate yourself into that state of confidence and charisma, your impact elevates automatically, because you not only lead by the example, by the actions that you do, but by the energy that you represent. And that's what I call elevated vegan activism. And that's the topic of today's talk. So the question that I want to ask you all as well, because I love to make this interactive, and I know we're too many faces to all talk, so let's just use the chat for that. The question that I have is, when I would ask you to do something or engage in something or gift yourself something every single day that elevates your energy, what would that be? If you would get homework to elevate your energy, how would you do that? Okay, we're getting meditation, going out into nature, laugh. Yes. I'm going to share with you how I elevate my energy. That's like the core component of this talk. But first, I want to know from you. Oh, okay. Now the chat's blowing up. Dance and move your body. Yes, I love that. Connecting with animals. Your activism elevates your energy. But yes, also nature, dance, etc. Raise your arms and sing. Ah, love it. Eat healthy food. Yeah. Meditation in the steam room. Oh, I hear you there, Marco. Okay, we have dance, we have pray, a journal. Okay, gratitude, listen to music. Yes to music, please. Meditation, morning and evening routines. Cooking and going to an activist event. Visit sanctuary. So what we're seeing here, what I'm observing is there is a tendency towards certain things, yet for most of us, it's individual, right? Every one of us needs something different to take care of the mind, the body, the soul, and the heart. Yeah, walk and meditation, acts of kindness, visit a sanctuary, going to online events like this. Yes, I agree to that. Exercise equals Pilates, physio, dance, music, interacting with community. So there's a lot of components. And the beauty of that there's a lot of components is it gives us with the choices to what we want to integrate. And integrate, that's the key word here, okay? So let me paint a scenario for you. Every day we wake up. Yeah, you do too. I know you do. Every day we wake up. We wake up to a world that is not as vegan as we wish it to be. We wake up into a day that comes with challenges and with blessings. And we wake up into a community, which could be the people you live with, your family. It could be the people that you meet for lunch. It could be the team that you're going to work with in the next 2 hours after you made your way to work. So you're waking up into a world. And I've read morning and evening routines here. And this is something that is the core foundation. It's just the foundation that every time I start working with somebody, I'm like, let's create a routine. Shall we create a routine? Just a ritual for you to set yourself up with the energetic signature to show up in the world as an inspiration instead of as a blame and shame machine. Because look, I know that's happening in the vegan community as well, towards pre-vegans and also towards fellow vegans, the blaming and shaming, right? So what can we do to elevate that energy is creating a routine. And now I know for all of us that have certain habits, it's quite the challenge. You know, you got to give up maybe some habits and you got to integrate new ones. And that's the beauty of the work that I get to do is I get to observe how people let go of old habits. Some people stop smoking. Some people stop drinking. Some people just go to bed a little bit earlier and wake up a little bit earlier to have an hour of calm. Yes, single moms too. They can do that too. Hard workers too. Now, I want to introduce you to the routine that I've seen works for most people. And this is going to be quite short because you've already listed the components in the chat. A routine that sets you up. And there was a question in the chat before. There was a question, what do I do? So I have a 5-step morning routine, which I will tell you about in a minute. But I'm not telling you this to orient yourself at this routine or to think, oh my God, now I have to do this too. But I'm telling you this to give you an vision of what kind of components are needed and why they are needed to elevate your energy. So we're going to break down energy a little bit, because energy is a very vast term. A lot of people know the word, everybody knows the word, but who has the exact definition of it? For all of us, energy can mean a little bit something different, right? I could go ahead now and ask you what energy means to you, but let's not go there. You can just think that for yourself, what energy means to you. Now, a healthy routine obviously has components, as I said before, for the body, for the mind, for the heart, and for the spirit. Now we have practices that serve, or let's say nourish, these parts of our being. So we have a prayer practice or a meditation practice that serves both our mind, our heart, and our spirit. Connection to spirit, huh? If you name it, we had it before. If you name it God, if you name it Allah, if you give it, is Allah right? There's so many names, I'm getting confused, but whatever names you want to give it, that's fine. The essence is connection to spirit. So if I'm talking about spirit or spirituality, I'm talking about the belief of something universal and something that isn't greater than us, but that we are a part of its greatness. Does that make sense? I think it does, right? So my routine is a 5-step routine. I meditate Joe Dispenza style. Maybe you're familiar with his teachings. It's about slowing down your brain waves, accessing your subconscious mind, and programming your subconscious mind so that you follow the intentions that you put into the deeper parts of your mind throughout the day, which basically means you're living a greater version of yourself by meditating that way in the morning. At least I do, and my clients do. The second thing is I breathe. I practice breath work. Anybody familiar with breath work? Any yogis in here that know pranayama techniques? Anybody familiar with Wim Hof style breathing, right? There's a lot of ways that we can breathe. And the beauty about breathing, I always say, breath is another language. So your breath is another language. And who does it speak to? Your nervous system. So your breath is the direct communicator to your nervous system. Your nervous system can be either in an attacked or in a stressed state, or it can be in a relaxed and nourished state. Ideally, you want to have it in the relaxed or nourished state, because when you do, you're coming from a place of high frequency emotions such as love, compassion, peace, care. If your nervous system is a little bit under attack, a little bit stressed, you might get triggered and you might shout swear words at your fellow pre-vegans. You might think, why the fuck are you not yet? And I'm going to tell that to you right now. And if you don't listen, I don't care, because I have something to say to you. Your nervous system, your heartbeat goes up. So breath work, working with your breath, actively putting attention towards your breath, different breathing patterns, set your nervous system up with calm. I see 2 breaths in, 1 out. Pilates instructor, yes, you know the drill. I teach breath work all the time. Yes, RMT before, so always talk breathing to my clients. Breath grounds you immediately. Great when speaking. There you go. That's another, I'm going to use this as a bridge for a minute, Michelle, because a lot of the people that come to me ask me, how can I become a more confident speaker? How can I have less anxiety before I need to speak to someone, to a group, or I don't know, to a whole space filled with 100 or thousands of people? And the breath is another gateway to manage that and to bring tranquility and release anxiety, right? And like when you're a good speaker as a vegan activist, ooh, that's a skill you just want to have. And you do, because you speak. You just gotta, gotta give space and calm for that voice to find the words. Yes, I get mad. Yeah, we all get mad. Getting mad is great, but throwing it at pre-vegans is a little bit counterproductive, huh? So next step in the routine is movement. So I'm a surfer. I surf almost every day. Gosh, today I had the best waves ever again. or a yoga practice, or a dance practice, free kind flow movement, any kind of movement that is joyful to you. I know a lot of people that want to go to the gym because they want to get ripped and healthy, but that comes from I'm lacking something, and it's hard to motivate yourself if you're coming from lack. So just find something that fills you up with joy, and it's going to be easier for you to do it. And yes, your body is going to get in shape whilst you do it. Absolutely. So movement, intuitive free flow movement, that's the third component. The fourth component is journaling. It's been mentioned before. What journaling can do is it can give you the space to have a conversation with yourself and with all the archetypes that you're having inside of you. So you don't need to be diagnosed with a multiple personality disorder. We all have different versions in us. And it's great to get to know them. It's great to get to know the kinky you. It's great to get to know the adventurous you. It's great to get to know the introvert or the extrovert you. So this is like a deeper layer of personal development, and journaling can hold space for that. Long walks with phone off is medicine for me. I can relate to that, Deb. Yeah. And the fifth component is, what's the fifth component? Hydration, obviously. Simple, but a lot of people forget it. Drink a liter of water, coconut water, distilled water, water with infused, whatever water, drink something. So that's my 5-step routine. And yeah, be inspired by it. Pick whatever you feel like and let that inspiration take a little bit of shape maybe in your daily life. That's at least what I hope it does for the time being that we have together today. I see Michelle says, I have a whole talk on it. Actually, maybe I'll do next Convergence. Yes, I want to hear your talk. Are there, is everything that I'm saying so far clear? Because I know that I'm using some terms that are related to emotional work or personal development. If anything is unclear, please just put that in the chat right away, and I want to clarify, because when I'm done here, I want you all to really understand what we've talked about, and not the opposite. So thank you. Thank you, Deb. Okay, clear. Charlie says clear. Now, I've hosted a workshop a while ago, and the fun thing is when I hop on a convergence or a summit like this, I set an intention, but I don't plan. Not anymore. When I started speaking and public speaking, I was always like, you got to be planned. You have your presentation ready. And now I'm more like, I just want to see who's in the space and what comes up and what might be interesting for them. So can I summarize the 5 things? Yes, of course. So the number 1 is meditation practice. Number 2 is breathwork practice. Number 3 is a movement practice. I usually call this mindful movement, something where you don't wreck your body, like you don't lift too many weights to hurt your lower back. I don't advocate for that, something that serves your body and your health. The 4th thing is journaling practice, and there's different ways to journal. I'm not going to go into that today because that would take me too much time. And the 5th practice is hydration, right? And the order varies on how the day goes and how the tide is and when the waves are good, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's also a thing that, oh yeah, thank you so much for summing that up in the chat. That's also a thing I always want to remind people of. When you get a recipe for something like doing the personal work, personal development work, inner work, etc., whatever you want to call it, make it your own. Make it your own blend. Make it your own blend. What works best for you? Is it great for you to sit in meditation the moment you wake up, or do you fall asleep right when you do that, right? So do you need something that energizes you more, a little bit movement? Find your groove there. And as we're speaking right now, the thought crosses my mind to say again that all of the self-care and all of the self-love practices that we're talking about today, that I'm sharing with you, and the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of activists think it's not that important, or it's maybe a little bit selfish or self-focused to put so much attention towards self-care. And I just want to highlight again, the more you take care of yourself, the more you fill your own cup, the more you can spill your own cup. And I know you spill your cup as an activist changing the world, right? So highlighting that one more time. Now, the workshop that I hosted about 3 weeks ago, I think, Nancy, you were there, right? The Confident and Charismatic Changemaker workshop. That was the name of it. It's available online, by the way, to rewatch for free for anybody. I can share the link with you in the chat. I'll just grab it for you. There you go. So in this workshop, I talked a little bit about charisma. And actually, can I open a presentation? I think I can.
Yes, you can.
I can, right? I click the green button and then the magic happens. And okay, here we go. Boom. Thanks, tech gods, for making this possible. Do you all see this?
Yes.
Amazing. Great. So that was the intro of the workshop. And I'm not going to go through the whole workshop with you, but I just want to go into charisma with you because it's something that we all have heard. I assume that. If you haven't heard of charisma, let me know in the chat. And it doesn't matter, actually, because now you've heard of it and you're going to learn about it. So what we did in the workshop was we had a little welcome circle, and then I introduced myself, which I will, if you have any more questions around who I am, we can do that at the end of this gathering here. And then I went into charisma, what it actually means, where the term comes from, and how to grow it. Now, I thought that would be interesting. This is an intuitive decision, but I thought it would be really interesting because I think charisma is one of the core qualities that when we can awaken that and bring that forward, it can really elevate our impact on a level that every conversation we have, regardless of how we're feeling, when we have a narrative, a foundation of charisma within us, we leave impact. People remember us for the right reasons, right? So who's that? June Fuchs? That was a part of the thing. And what does charisma mean? Now, I've picked some different definitions here, and I thought it would be interesting to share them. Dictionary.cambridge.org says a special power that some people have naturally that makes them able to influence other people and attract their attention and admiration. Oxford Languages says compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. Now, I'm not going to make a statement. We can just take them in. Merriam-Webster.com says a personal magic. I'm having my face on top of the text. A personal magic of leadership arousing special popular loyalty or enthusiasm for a public figure. Now, here we have the term leadership, which is a very beautiful key term I'm going to get back to in a moment. And MacmillanDictionary.com says a strong personal quality that makes other people like you and be attracted to you. Hey, presentation. There we go. And this is really interesting. At least for me, it was when I read that. Charisma was borrowed from a Greek word meaning favor, gift. From charisent. Anybody Greek in here who can pronounce this? I can't pronounce it. Charisentai, which also means to favor, and it comes from charis, which means grace. Now, what else was there? 5 ways to grow your charisma. I'm going to stop this presentation if you want to learn more about these 5 ways. We talked about them a little bit. They're very related to the practices, but you can watch the whole workshop for yourself at a later time. Now, charisma, it's something that comes with to favor and grace. And as we've seen in these definitions, right, it awakens a sense of attraction in other people, interest, and it can bring us into a position of leadership because we attract attention. Now, I'm not saying you got to be an attention. Oh, I can't swear here. An attention. Meh. Can I swear? I usually swear a lot, so I'm really holding back. I think I haven't sworn at all so far. if anybody needs or deserves attention for the message that they're conveying, in my opinion, it's vegans. I think you all agree with me. So charisma is a quality that when we awaken that more, we can use it basically as a kind of superpower, right? And so if I look back at my own life story, when I started being a vegan activist and was on the streets and quite frustrated, quite angry, I was also very anxious, very scared, very fearful of conversations, because I always felt like I need to win now, or I need to win a debate, or I need to change that person. And later on now, after like the burnout and deep diving into mindfulness, becoming a coach and a mentor for other people, I've realized that the charisma in a conversation is much more powerful than actually bringing facts and wisdom to the table. Now, facts and wisdom are extremely important when a person wants to know things for themselves. But for you as the advocate, because I see this a lot, people come to me and they're like, oh my God, I want to talk about it, but I don't know everything. I can't answer every question. When they ask me about the climate impact, I don't know the numbers. And I'm like, you don't need to. There's websites, there's resources you can lead people towards. The only thing that you need to do is be there and present for that person, with the space for them to have their magical aha moment and be like, oh, veganism is actually really cool. So they can go home and talk about the conversation they had with you on the streets, online. Yes, online. We forget about online activism a lot. And I think it's one of the most powerful ways to reach people, because who isn't on social media? Who isn't on Instagram? Hardly anyone, right? And we take the detoxes. Saw it in the chat before. That's great. But who isn't there? Who isn't reading these things? So applying charisma to the way you show up offline and online is a superpower I wish for every activist to develop more. Because I know you all have something to say, and there's nothing more frustrating than talking to somebody who doesn't get it. We've read it in the chat before, talking to somebody who's not open to receive it. And I've had friends in the past, like, I would actually love to know from you all, when you went vegan, did you go vegan also like very aggressive animal rights focused, or were you like peaceful spiritual vegan? Give me a 1 if you were aggressive vegan, or give me a 2 if you were peaceful, harmonious vegan. Okay, yes. Okay, we have 2 2s. We have 1 2. Oh my God, look at you being all very peaceful. Well, okay, can't tell. 1.5, somewhere in the middle. 1. Started when 19, but then quickly chilled out. Okay, 2. Animal rights, but pretty common. I'm actually very happy to hear that, because usually what I'm hearing from my fellow activists and communities is that there's a lot of 1s in there, right? But we're at the Climate Healers Convergence here, so that's another place to gather. At first I was peaceful, but then I got sad and angry. Now I'm more peaceful after 7 years. Yes, peaceful and mind your own biz vegan. Oh, mind your own biz vegan. Yeah, that's great, because that gives the space, right? So now a 2. So we all chilled out, huh? So we all went a little bit through that transition. And I see a lot of us didn't even. You went vegan fully peaceful. So bless you for that. Very cool. I try to go gently. Yeah. Gently, humble, related to charisma. No Greek people in here, right? So nobody knows how to pronounce this term, charismatic. I could ask Google, maybe Google knows, but not now, a bit later. Awakening charisma. In the workshop, I talked about it a little bit, and it's very related to self-care and self-love, doing your own inner work. And right now I'm realizing, as I see a lot of you answered with 2, and we have Pilates instructors, we have meditators in here, we have people with breath work in here. So I'd love to actually go to a next layer with you for the next 10 minutes. which is also the way I've actually built my back end on the business. This might be interesting for some of you that are also building a vegan or vegan related business. So the first step that I'm doing with the people I work with is mental health foundations. And then the next layer, which I would like to talk to you about a little bit now, is inner work, inner alignment work, trauma work, shadow work, and inner child's work. Now, give me a yes if these terms are familiar with you, and give me a no if this is new, or rather new. Inner alignment, shadow work, facing your traumas, like digging deeper. I'm seeing yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, y'all are on the same page. Look at that. Okay, some yes, 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 yes. All yeses. Hello, family. Some terms new. I'll repeat the terms. We have the inner work, which basically includes the other terms as well. We have trauma work, looking at the traumas that you've experienced both in your childhood and in recent times. A trauma can be you go and say the last goodbye to a slaughter vehicle before it drives into the slaughterhouse, and you see those pigs. That's very traumatizing. So that's another layer that a lot of vegans, and especially vegan activists that do that kind of activism, don't pay attention to. Who here knows James Aspey? I know there's some controversy around his thing, but I'm just going to zoom in on one of the most recent topics. Been traumatized by that. There you go. You can relate, huh? Rebecca, yeah. James Aspey, yeah, one of the biggest names in animal rights activism this day and age, right? So over the past, he's great. I agree. Yeah, I really think he's been doing a great work for veganism, for our animal family and friends. And so I met him. He's here in Bali, and I met him about 9 or 10 months ago. Very brief, very short. I'm telling you this story because it's related to trauma work. I'll get back to the terms in a moment, huh? Just a little side note to trauma work. So I met him, and we walked. He just left a vegan restaurant, and I walked in. Was there with some friends. He was there with some friends, and we both knew each other's friends, but we haven't met. So we had a short chat. He left. And Nikki she was not his wife. She wasn't there yet. She was about to come, he said. A couple of days later, I think she arrived or something. And so I just felt a certain weight when I met him in person. And yes, I'm an intuitive. Okay, I'm spiritual. Yes. So I felt a certain weight, right? And shortly after I met him, he kind of disappeared from social media, and his activism just stopped. And then this whole thing happened around, is he still vegan? What is happening with James Aspey? He's gone. I don't know if you noticed, but he wasn't really on the radar anymore for almost a year. He was gone. And so just last week, I've gotten a message from, forgot her name. Anyway, I was on her podcast. It's about to be published. I forgot her name. And she sent me this message, and she was like, did you see James Aspey's newest video? And I was like, no. So she sent me the link. And in his, like, one of the most recent videos, now he's posting again, he shares how his trauma experiences over 7 years of being an activist, and a very front-on activist. We know it. He's like, you know, hardcore dude style. I'm gonna show them what's up. That was his energy. And so over the past 8 months, right after I met him briefly and he went offline, I just and James, if you're watching, much love to you. I know you're better now. So he was suffering from immense chronic pain that was based on trauma experiences and manifested in his body. And if you know the video, if you've watched it, you can go on his YouTube channel and watch it. It's probably now the most recent or the second recent. He shows his process a little bit of how much physical pain he went through, and how he figured out that that was related to the trauma that he had stored in his body and never gave attention to, never processed. And when I saw this, I was re-empowered in talking about trauma work again, because like I wish for no vegan to, first of all, go through that pain, for nobody actually, but especially not for vegans, because they get knocked out. And a person like James Aspey has impact. When he posts something on social media, a lot of people see and read that. So he has good impact. He's established a proper community and a base for creating great positive impact. Bless him for that. And then he fell out of it, which was needed. He needed that break because he needed to give this trauma attention. And coming back to the terms, so we have trauma work, we have shadow work, which basically means looking at the uncomfortable experiences you had in life that you maybe shoved down and kind of forgotten about. We're talking about toxic relationships. We're talking about abuse, mental or physical abuse in marriages and relationships, or from parents or from siblings. We're talking about shadow work around pride and your image of yourself, connecting your self-worth to achievements instead of simply being, for example. So this is really deep stuff that I'm scratching on the surface with you right now. But for me, it's important that you've heard of that once at least, because James was like, he's back now, he's posting again. And he feels way better. So it took him a while to really get to that, and bless him for that. But I think we should all take this example again as a lesson to not underestimate the importance of self-care, self-love as a foundational layer, right? Mental health, get sane, stay sane, which doesn't mean you can't cry. It doesn't mean you can get angry, but it means to create containers and spaces to feel those emotions instead of throwing them around in the world, having them land and be reflected back by people 1,000 times worse, which essentially is also a trauma experience, right? If you throw anger at a hunter, ooh, who's had like really rough debates with hunters or butchers here? Remember the first time, yeah, I see a hand going up. The first time I went on the streets, I talked to 2 butchers. That was like the first time I was in an activism event. 2 butchers came up to me and they were like, who the are you to tell me what I can and cannot do? And I was like, well, I just got vegan and I think you should go vegan too. And they were like, nah, 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 nah. And I was like, nah, 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 nah. Yeah, not cool. No, they went home and they told their family or their girlfriends, boyfriends, between and beyond, whatever they had, that they met an awkward vegan that was trying to convince them to go vegan, but he was an idiot, something like that, most probably, you know. So layer 1, mental health. Layer 2, do your inner work. And that's the message that I want to close my talk on today. And I'm grateful that I got to share a little bit of that with you all. And to bring closure to this, I'm going to ask you again, from 1 to 10, where's your energy at? Is it still where it was at before? Are you feeling a little bit more calm or even more excited? Getting another 8. More calm. Okay, calm. Oh, go to 11. Informed. Girl, 25, Stacy, girl, you got to run around the block with that. Again, that's why these vegan online events are so crucial for our community. Thank you, Dr. Ron. Thank you, Climate Healers and June. Similar PTSD happens to James Aspey, happened to Joey Carpstrong. Okay, yeah, they have very similar approaches to activism, but those of us who bearing witness and grassroots activism. 10, calm and assured, calm. 8, enjoyed, can't sit still. Oh my God, everybody is in a different vibration. It's so great. Thank you all so much for showing up here. Thank you so much for you, Dr. Rao, for allowing me to have the space here, for allowing me to stay up until 1 a.m. to have this space. It means a lot to me. It really does. And how much is my rent in Bali? It's between 350 and 500 US dollars. It's pretty cheap. And the waves are amazing. I live 2 minutes from the beach. Aww. June, you may have been the first person to make a hunter decide to reject veganism. I was involved in sport fishing and nobody ever challenged me to do otherwise. So I felt above reproach. I need to read that again. I didn't understand that. Hold on. Can you reiterate that for me? To make a hunter decide to reject. You have been the first person to make a hunter decide to reject veganism. I was involved in sport fishing and nobody ever challenged me to do otherwise, so I felt above reproach. Also, for you, it was needed to have somebody come at you with their fist and be like, you are doing something wrong. That's also sometimes the case. Some people really need a smack in their face to wake up. People really do. Yeah, come over and visit me. Oh, thank you all.
Watch, do you have a question for June?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Rao. Hey, great presentation. I wanted to ask about how to handle factions, infighting, and also groupthink among the various vegan factions. You know, a lot of people don't want to promote veganism for any other reasons but the animals, and a lot of people, a lot of vegans, activists I have encountered do not want to be intersectional or have a very strong preference and are sort of in a groupthink that they would have a strong influence of a particular ideology and they don't want to think about another attack or another way of doing things. So how do you handle that? Thank you.
Powerful question. And we ask that a lot. I have a Facebook community where that comes up a lot, every week, at least once. And vegan infighting, you mentioned, to explain that, that's basically vegans having a war against other vegans for their points and perspective on what veganism is and should be and what it's not, as you also said so nicely. So one of the main things that comes up for me and how to handle that is it really worth the attention? Now, one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's, my meditation teacher's teachings is what you give your attention, you give your power. And I know this is quite a high art. It's a practice to not give your attention to certain things that are very intriguing and very triggering. So giving your attention to, let's say, a comment section on Facebook that goes exactly into this debate of intersectional veganism, for example. And if you go into that and you have a really calm presence and you go into that with you know, a not triggered state of being and not feeling threatened by what the person stated, sure, go into that. But if you feel threatened and if you feel like you're adding to that noise and clutter, because for me, it's very often noise and clutter, I'd much rather focus on the pre-vegans than on this vegan infighting situation. Doesn't mean that I don't get triggered by it. Ooh, sometimes I think in my mind, oh my God, I smacked the shit out of that person. But then I take that into a mindfulness practice and I don't put the energy into the vegan infighting. That's my answer. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thanks for asking. Any other questions?
Do you recommend Vipassana meditation for going through and understanding your shadows and trauma?
Yeah. Definitely a very good way to do that. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do recommend that. Oh, okay, I see there's questions in the chat. How long does your morning routine take on an average day? That can be between 50 minutes and 3.5 hours. It really depends on my working schedule and private schedule. How do you avoid eating fish in Bali? It must be everywhere. Well, I don't eat it, obviously, but how do you avoid having people around you that eat fish? It's a challenge. Many people say to me, you're lucky to live in Bali. And I'm like, the rawness of animal abuse I'm exposed here, I had to grow really resilient emotionally. And sometimes I just disappear for a whole day in my room and I process all the emotions that I'm feeling. It's very exposed here. So For me, eating fish, when I made the commitment and I married myself to veganism, that it was off the hook, literally. That was an accident. I didn't plan that. The fishes were off the hook, literally. So any trauma books you can recommend? Oh, I have never done trauma works through books. I've always went into retreats, or I pinpointed people that did trauma work with people. And I was like, I like your vibe. I want to work with you on it. Are you available for that? And I hired people to do so, to become my mentors. That was more my approach than reading books. So I can't recommend any books from the top of my mind right now. Can we outsource our meditations? Just kidding. No running from your own inner work. Isn't Bali one of the most vegan-friendly places? Indeed, there is a very thriving vegan community happening here. Yet it's only in the south part of Bali, which is where I live, more or less, and most expats live. But when you go to the other places of the island, not at all. Not at all. But vegan food is available everywhere. Every small restaurant knows how to make vegan food, even if they don't know the name vegan. Any activism should match who you are targeting to know what approach to take. I find that is most effective. Married veganism. Yes, it's the best relationship ever. Challenging, but the best one ever. And the only one I commit to until I die. So many cultural elements, long-time deep-rooted beliefs that are non-vegan are often biggest challenging to overcome for some people. Indeed. Yeah, so the deeper the roots, the harder and the more consistency it takes to break through that. And again, charisma is a really good icebreaker for that. Married, which part of Bali are you in? I live in Uluwatu, all the way down south, where the waves are the best. Okay. I think I went through all the questions, right? So if you have any more questions outside of this, just shoot me a message on Facebook or send me an email, or I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. I've been doing the TikTok game a little bit, so it's impossible to not find me. And for everybody who wants to watch the workshop I did, it's available for free. And I also wrote a mini ebook called Elevated Vegan Activism. It's a 40-minute read, or you can listen to the audiobook. It's also for free. I'll send you that. And how do we sign up for your coaching? Oh, thank you for asking that. I've created a virtual journey online because everybody's needs are different. And that virtual journey basically guides you. It's like a yes and no answering question. And then you have a little bit of story you read. And then at the bottom of the website, you have a yes or a no. And then it takes you to a next segment with a little bit of story and explanation, and then a yes or no. So it's like a fun interactive journey I'm taking you on. And it leads you to where you need to be if you want to be coached by me, to a specific course, or to personal mentorship, or to a group coaching program. So I'm going to share that link with you as well. Yes, I just shared the website. So every link that I shared is also to my website. Thank you. Oh, thank you for saying that, Susan.
And it's
Any other
amazing.
question?
Yeah, it's amazing you have that confidence and charisma at so late at night. Yeah.
That's the cacao. It really helped. I jugged like a whole mug like this. I'm gonna go straight to the beach now and surf. Sunrise is coming. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, high energy. You know, I come from a background of suicidal episodes, depression, and strong anxiety attacks. And I always use my story to tell people that regardless where you come from, it might take a moment, but you can, you know, you can make it beyond. You can make it to anywhere. Like, go to the Himalayas for 10 years and you'll probably be able to fly if you just sit there and meditate on it. I don't know if that's possible, but I believe it could be, you know, so you can transform in any kind of version that you want. And I'm just one living example, and I bet most of you are as well.
Thank you so much.